Okay, wait, getting into horny. Do you remember your first time masturbating?
I almost got kicked out of preschool for masturbating. So no, I
You
don't remember. I couldn't stop pumping things, and they were like, "You need to get your child to stop pumping things." My mom was like, "I don't know how."
Oh my, that is a weird, like, because it's like
Because girls masturbate so early.
so early. Please, she's crying right
I'm
now.
crying laughing.
Hi, my name is Tam. I'm a writer and a comedian. And when I was a teenager, I had a bat mitzvah and a quinceañera, which I combined into a batzañera. Now, I'm talking to my favorite writers, actors, and comedians about their coming-of-age ceremonies as we remember what it felt like to supposedly become an adult. This is Bless These Braces. Hello. Aw, this is already cute. So, my guest today is a writer who's appeared on the Wall Street Journal, excuse me, GQ, excuse me, and The Cut. And I will say she's has a book out, which is one of my favorites, and I gifted to everybody last Christmas, including my father-in-law, who it's one of his favorite books, and I think that's so cute. The book is called Well, This Is Exhausting. It's a book of essays, and you should all buy it immediately. Sophia Benoit. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yeah.
Oh. We've been friends for about 9 years?
Yeah, like 9 years. It's fine.
She's been to my wedding. She's been into the bathroom while I've been taking shits.
Many times.
Yes.
So many times.
And I love her. She's my Nona. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of
I'm
course.
super excited.
How are you, baby?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to be here. I'm
Yes.
excited to tell you the worst, most embarrassing things about myself.
This show is about the worst times of our lives when our hormones, when our hormones are raging and our skin is crawling, and when we come of age, basically. So let's start by just you telling me what you were like, what you were into at that time.
So 12 to 13, a lot of my childhood, I was incredibly overweight. At that age, I also had such bad acne that they put me on Accutane,
Ooh.
and I had to do like pregnancy tests every month, even though I was so overweight and had so much acne. And I was like, please, I'm not pregnant.
Because
you
if
know.
if you were to have a baby, my sister, who's here too, was on Accutane. They're born with like cones on their
Yeah, there's like fins and just extra stuff that a baby's not supposed to have. No, they were like, you cannot have a baby, and I was like, I wish a boy would even look at me or touch my hand. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not gonna get pregnant. I also had a retainer for a while that was like not two separate top and bottom retainers, but this whole thing that was like
Oh,
having like a golf ball in your mouth.
please, yeah.
And my parents loved me through it, which I think is just like the beauty of parenthood. Because there's so few photos of me then, and not just because I hid from photos, but because other people were like, she doesn't need to remember this.
My baby.
But there's no nice way to put this. I was like a really good student and really smart. So I was like thriving in school and having so much fun. And everyone's like, I would never do middle school again. And I'm like, oh my God, I would love to go back and talk to Mr. Actus. Like I'm a
That's crazy.
loser to my core.
Wow.
It's so deep in there.
You were, I mean, you were a nerd.
Yeah, but I was just like, I like loved participating in class. Like it wasn't even like I went home and read books, which I also did. I want to be clear, but like I was like, oh my God, aren't we all having so much fun learning? And everyone's
Oh
like, if you
no.
don't shut up,
Oh
I
my
swear to
God.
God,
I
it was bad.
to me, like, ever since I met you, like, despite being like self-conscious or this or that, or like we hate ourselves, like I know we always joke about that, but like you always have been really confident, it sounds like.
I quite literally like decided when I lost weight in high school and people all of a sudden were nice to me, I was like, I have to turn this ship around and learn social skills because I never learned them because I was just like loud and outrageous in class and then like ignored otherwise. And so I was like,
Right.
oh no, I literally was like Googling things as a high schooler, being like, how do you talk to people?
Oh my
Like,
God.
I'm not kidding you. Like, I had to like really relearn everything because I didn't know interaction, and especially with men. Like, women, I
Right.
grew up with women, and my dad is not like a manly man. So I
Yes.
had like no masculine influence. So I had to like relearn
Right.
everything.
Your dad sounds very much like mine, like who would do
Very
our
similar.
hair,
Yes.
like take us shopping.
Oh my God. My dad's dream is to go shopping with me. He loves shopping with me. He has always subscribed to like Vogue and W. Um, I can't even tell you the things that he has sent me. He will like go on rants about how beautiful Fernando Alonso is,
Please.
which I agree with, but I'm like, who's talking to their dad in the kitchen about like how
Yes.
gorgeous a
I feel
man
like
is?
multiple friends of mine are sure my dad is gay.
I couldn't be more sure that my dad is gay, and I can't wait. I'm my dearest, sincerest hope is that of his 5 children, he's the closest to me, I think. I hope this goes on the air and all my siblings are like, what the hell? But he tells me all of his little secrets, and I can't wait till like he dies and I get this letter that's like, I've actually been in a relationship with a man named Ricardo for 19 years. And
Ricardo.
I'm like, yes, I knew it. I knew it.
We should introduce our dads at some point and
They would
see if this
kiss.
sparks fire.
They would kiss.
My mom told me that one day she walked into my dad blow drying with a round brush, his pubic hairs in the bathroom.
Oh, that's the other thing is I think both of our parents are very comfortable talking to us about sex and how horny they are. And my parents are the same way. I think it's like a European, like
Yes.
non-American thing. They're very comfortable with being like, oh, I'm horny. And I'm like, whoa. Shh, that's a secret. Like,
Yes.
no.
Like always, I mean, you come from divorced parents, but
Yes.
your dad got remarried. I mean, your mom too,
Both my
right?
parents have been married 4 times.
I forget, right.
They're nuts.
Each.
Each. Only once to each other. They didn't mess up that much, but
That's a lot.
it's crazy. How do after the second one you're like, maybe marriage isn't for me, but maybe you do it a third time. 4 is insane.
Just date.
They don't know about that.
But they like want the ceremony.
They want something.
How old were you when your parents got divorced?
2. And my
Oh.
dad's like his anniversary with his current wife is like right before I was born. So we can all do math, you
Oh
know.
shit.
There's drama.
Who was the wife and the husband while you were like having your period and like those
My
horrible years?
stepmom
Who's
is
still
still my stepmom.
Okay.
And then my mom was not married while I was going through those horrible years. So I had this house that was like my mom, my sister, and I, all girls. It was amazing. It was like we were just watching Nora Ephron movies and like eating popcorn, and like it was exactly what you're imagining.
That sounds
It was
kind of amazing.
wonderful. Again, that's why I didn't know how to talk to guys. I was like, you have no place in my life right now. I wanted there to be a place for guys, obviously, but I'm saying like when I was that age, I would just go home to like I also played
Pussies.
literally, but I also like played with like dolls until way too late, and I would be like going home in 7th grade after like raising my hand 800 times in a day, and then I'd come home and like play with my Barbies and make them kiss. Like
Oh, my sweet
it was like
girl.
innocent, like pure,
Yeah,
like
pure.
everyone else was like, I'm gonna try to like have sex this year, and I was like, that is not on my radar. Like
I have a lot of questions, but I don't know why this is the first one. When did your boobs come in?
I think this
Come
is
in.
one day they just arrived. I think because I was overweight, I think it's kind of hard to tell, but I feel like they came in earlier than a lot of people's, and everyone in my family has pretty big boobs. So I feel like I kind of just assumed I was going to. And I have like the biggest rib cage of all time,
Uh-huh.
not to brag. So I feel like I kind of knew. I was like, we need big boobs. If I don't have big boobs on this rib
Then
cage,
what?
we're really fucked. Like it's just gonna be bad. It's gonna be like the
Just
Rock.
a Shrek.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I think I got boobs when I was like, or like I started getting boobs probably when I was like 10 or 11, like early.
Okay.
And then I was so uncomfortable with my body though in any form. If my mom was like, let's buy a bra, I was like screaming, crying, like, leave me alone. And so much of it was that I already felt like, I felt like I had been told because I was fat that my body was gross and bad.
Yeah.
So every new layer of puberty was more reinforcement that my body was gross and bad.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to talk about those things with anyone. Like my mom took my sister out to a nice dinner when she got her period and like gave her a bouquet of roses, and my sister was
Oh my
like,
God.
"Oh, yay." And I told my mom when that happened, which was about 3 years before it happened for me. I literally like looked at her in the eyes and I was like, if you ever do that to me, I will kill you. Like, I
Oh
will
my.
never forgive you. Because I was like horrified by my body. I didn't want somebody to be like, let's go get
Talk
dinner.
about it. Yeah, like anything.
I was like, no, we're going to pretend this never happened.
And when it happened, what? Were you just like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, I literally was like, okay, we have to just buckle down and deal with this situation. I was horrified. It wasn't like, oh, my beautiful womanhood. I was
No.
like, oh, Christ, my body's doing something again that we do not want.
I I remember, like, when my boobies, when they
Please.
started to come in, at first, they're just like golf balls,
It's the worst situation
like
possible.
and they're very tender, and it's almost like they're just a fat nipple.
It is. It's like the most embarrassing possible beginning of a boob. It's the worst. Like, I would much rather you literally just wake up with honkers.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
please, like, let me just. I don't even care how it happens. I don't care if I go to sleep one night and I wake up and there's just like
You
massive cans.
I
I don't care. I
know,
would much rather
I
that than
agree.
like
They're like little tumors almost,
it's
right?
awful.
That
It's
hurt.
awful. And then everyone's like, you have to wear a bra, but there's like nothing happening, but there is something happening. And
Well,
like the line of when it starts is so like, it's not clear when you need to. Oh my God.
but it is because now looking back at photos, I'm
Oh,
just like, "Oh, fuck." Like, you can see the, like, tiny little lemons, like
one day, I will never forget this day because I went back and forth between my mom and dad's house. I didn't have clothes at my dad's house because my stepmom didn't want my dad ever buying us things because that would cost money. So I'd had to
oh my
always
god.
insane. So I had no clothes there. I had to like pack every time I went over. And I didn't go over rarely. Like I went over at least once a week, usually multiple times a week, and then I'd go to school the next day. So I had to like bring clothing with me and bring everything with me. And one time early on in wearing a bra, I wasn't used to that. Like it was like the first month or two where I needed a bra. And I was already mortified that my mom was like, no, you have to wear one at this point. Like we're getting to the point where you need to wear
I
one.
wonder what you look like.
Oh, oh my God. I just want to die thinking about it's like sweet angel child. I wish
Yes.
like just it's
Yes.
fine. Just get on board.
Yes.
Listen to your mother, please. She's helping you so much and you are being so resistant. But I had like forgotten to pack one with me. So the next day I had to go to school and I had packed this like white shirt where it was like
Right.
incredibly obvious. And I was like, oh no, what do I do? And I knew at that point, like I need a bra. And I had nothing that would work. Like you can't like borrow something to be a bra, like
No.
there's no borrowing something.
What 2 like, maxi
Yeah,
pads.
like exactly. What was I gonna do? So instead, it was winter and I had a black puffer coat. And so I wore it all day
Oh
long.
my god.
And everyone was like, don't you want to take this off? And I was like, no, I'm freezing. And I was like sweating through it. Like the most sweat you can imagine. Like,
Oh my
don't
god.
you want
That is so
It's
devastating. I'm
so
so
funny to
depressed.
be like, I'm freezing, I swear. And they're like, you're not.
Oh my
Like,
god.
please.
I remember one of the first sleepovers. I was 16 or 17 and I had gone out like all ages clubbing with guys and I was wearing these like high boots, but I didn't wear socks with them. And we spent the night at this guy's house and everybody took their clothes off to put pajamas on and I took my boots off and a stench of cheese emanated from my feet so bad that I slept with the like stiletto thigh-high boots on.
You're like, no, this is how I normally sleep. I do this all the time.
There was a moment where I went to the bathroom and I was like, "Do I wash my feet in the sink right now? Like, what do I do?" Oh
It's so
god.
funny because now as an adult, if that same situation happened to me, like the boot situation and it stank, I feel like I'd just be like to my friends, like, sorry, this is
So
where we are. Like,
I would be putting like the foot in your face to
yeah,
smell.
exactly.
Like,
Like, it's so funny how as an adult you can like grapple with your body and be like, look, we all know what it's like. But as a 12-year-old, you're like, if I'm not normal, which it's so funny to be like, if I'm not normal. Meanwhile, I wore a coat. Like, please, Christ.
no, we were like Looney Tunes characters, just like like
And
running around in circles.
so horny the whole time too.
And
Like
so
so
horny.
horny. Like
Okay, wait, getting into horny. Do you remember your first time masturbating?
I almost got kicked out of preschool for masturbating. So no, I
You
don't remember. I couldn't stop pumping things and they were like, need to get your child to stop pumping things. My mom's like, I don't know how.
Oh my, that is a weird, like, because it's like
Because girls masturbate so early.
so early. Please, she's crying right
I'm
now.
crying laughing.
I remember sitting my sister down. She was probably like 4 and I was 8, and I did a full. I'm sorry if you don't remember this, Nat, and I'm like bringing a dark thought. Oh, we'll talk about the dark thoughts, but doing a full strip tease for her and like grabbing my pussy lips like I was 8 and being like
Please.
well, you don't remember this, do you?
Thank God.
Well,
I'm honestly probably
fuck.
good.
Oh
Being
my
like a
God.
kid and having siblings and having when you're really young, I feel like you're just like showing each other everything, being like, I have a butthole or
Yeah.
whatever. And you're like, my sister and I used to play a game that we called, this is so dumb, this is way before puberty, called Flies in the Buttcrack. And we would, one of us would pretend to be a doctor, and all you do is you like look at the other person's butt and be like, I have to diagnose you with a really serious disease. And then we'd have to say, without laughing, you have flies in the butt crack, which even now I cannot say without laughing. Like how like
How did that even? How was that
how
born?
that's what I'm saying. Kids are so weird.
Oh
But I
my
do
God.
for GQ I interview men about their sex lives, and I like do sex histories with men. And one thing that I have been fascinated by is that so many men are not aware of masturbation or how it works until they like reach puberty, or they're told about it and then they like kind of try it and they're like, I don't know, from like an older brother or something.
Uh-huh.
Because like the mechanics of it are so different than
Yes.
for a woman. You just can hump stuff and it's
Yeah.
like the best thing that's ever happened.
And we're doing it from like, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
kiddie ages.
yeah, like it's not like touching your dick doesn't feel good early on, I assume. I hope. Good for you guys.
But-
But like so many guys were like, "Oh, I didn't really know what I was doing." And I was
Right.
like, "Oh my God, I was humping things literally day one."
And it's true. And it's also like guys, I've heard like they don't come. Like they have an orgasm, but then like the cum starts coming out later, right?
I don't want to know. You know what I mean? No,
It's
you can orgasm, you can ejaculate and not
that's
orgasm.
yes,
And also vice versa.
vice versa.
Those
But
are
at first
separate.
sand comes out and then it
Just
turns
dry
into-
baby powder comes out. We know
That's
so
like-
much about men. They have to.
so much.
We could write a book.
But then like later when the hormones came in, you actually like masturbated
Oh,
like to
nonstop.
porn. Did you have that thing where it was like the porn with the lines?
Oh, no, I didn't have that, but I did have by the time that I got to knowing what you could see on the internet, it was I didn't have dial up anymore. The internet connection was okay.
Right.
So I was like we also had like the clear history button and I knew what to do. Every
Yeah.
single time that I looked at porn, which was so often in the computer room, I
Oh,
literally
yeah, at school?
no, at home.
Oh, okay.
It was like a
okay.
little like den thing. Like I don't know. Computer room makes it sound like we had like a million rooms at our mansion. But like every time I looked at porn, I was immediately like, I have to uninstall every program from this
Oh,
computer.
yeah.
Like we have to take a hammer to this computer. Meanwhile, I had like searched boobs. Like it was
Right.
literally like I saw like the most mild, tame things. I think about it now and I'm like, if I saw that my kid was like looking at like man kissing woman's boob, I'd be like, that's so
Aw.
sweet. Like I'm sure I
Yes.
was Googling the most tame stuff you can even imagine.
It's crazy though, like yeah, it's like with men, like they see a boob and when they're young and they're like we were
I was
kind of the
the
same.
same. I was
And
the
now
same.
the porn we're watching is like old man with no teeth sucking on pickle. Like
It's absolutely horrific. I always tell people when I interview them about their sex lives, I'm like, you really can't shock me because not only for myself, but also for work, I've done so much research into porn and like, there's not a category I don't know about. I know so much stuff that's insane.
what's the weirdest? Like not
I-
to put you
I
on the
don't wanna-
spot, but
Again, no
I
judgment.
mean, no
obviously,
weirdest, yes.
But I think a thing that I find odd that how you get there is like, do you know about Q cow porn?
no, I don't know what any of that means.
It's
Except
like
for
a
porn.
human cow, a woman becomes a cow kind of. And it's
Okay.
not like she's I don't know all of the I don't know what makes this horny, but I guess there's like milking situations
Yeah.
involved and she's like mooing question mark, but I don't know if I don't
Could
know if
get
the
into that.
person really believes that the woman's a cow. I'm not really sure the particulars, but when I found out about that, I was like, the world is vast.
She's on all fours
I don't
and they're doing this to her, right?
I've seen it more
want me tonight masturbating.
You're like, cute cow. I will say I read most of the porn because I honestly, when I see people, sometimes they depress me. Like if I see a bad tattoo in porn, I'm already out of it. I'm like,
100%.
you have a star on your hip. What's
Yes,
happening?
yes.
So
Or a
I just,
tan or a piercing. I get
yeah,
it. Yeah,
or they like, sorry, you have like weird teeth, or
yeah,
like, I don't know what's happening. Why are you
yeah,
wearing a trucker hat? Why
yeah.
is everyone wearing a trucker hat? I
I
can't,
get it.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would rather read porn so that in my mind it's like just
Yeah.
pristine people.
Send me some of that.
Oh, you are gonna get links like you wouldn't believe.
Okay. Oh, God, I have to block you now.
We never speak again after today.
uh, wait, okay. And then you changed things around for yourself and you became horny and you started hooking up with guys.
Um, okay, so once I lost weight, I was always horny. Like literally
You
there's
were always
never
horny,
ever,
yes.
yeah, so there's always been the through line of my entire existence. Uh, I feel like once I lost weight in high school, it became like, oh, maybe somebody could like me, which is an unfortunate way to like self-identify and create
Mm-hmm.
that reality. And I don't know that it's true, but it was true in the like world I was in. Um, so I went on this, and I didn't think anyone from my high school would ever like me because they had like known me before. We had all been in school together since we were in first grade. Like we all knew each other so well that I was like, I'm kind of always going to be like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fat, annoying, know-it-all kid. And I wasn't all of those things. Like I was annoying as shit. So it wasn't just my looks. There was a lot of personality problems
Right,
too.
right, right.
But once I lost weight, I went on this trip to France with a couple friends.
Oh.
I know one of my friends had gotten an apartment in France. Her mom got an apartment in France, and they were like, if you can pay for airfare, you can like stay with us for free. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, you should like, okay, we can make this work. So I went to France, and while I was there in Nice, this friend of mine, her mom is like this bohemian woman who has like no rules, constantly drinking wine. God love her. She came in one night to the Airbnb that we were at, or apartment or whatever, and was like, "Girls, get ready." And there were three of us, and we were like, "What's happening?" And she was like, "I met three boys in the hallway. They're about your
What?
age." She didn't speak any French. They spoke very little English. I'm not sure how she like
She
brokered
was
a
like
sex
pimping
deal.
you.
I know.
Amazing.
And she was like, go get ready. There's three boys here. And all of us were like, what is happening? And the two other girls I was with had like definitely done things with boys before. I'm not sure what level, but they like had boyfriends and stuff. I had like not been touched by a boy, not touched a
Oh,
boy. But there is something about me in another country that turns into a brand new
oh, I
person.
love.
Like you've never seen me like this. I'm like high-fiving strangers.
Yes.
Like you don't even understand what I'm
You
on.
don't smoke cigarettes, and I've seen pictures of you in Italy, like chain smoking. Like, yeah.
It all returns to me. Like my ancestral lines
Oh,
come out, and I'm like eating cheese in one
yeah.
hand and this, and then there's like four naked men on my lap. Like I don't even know what happens. This was my first experience with it. I get out there. There's three guys. One of them's 18. We're all 16. One of them's like 15, and one's maybe our age. The 18-year-old is hot as shit, like ranked fighter. We're talking like 18 abs. Like it was like
Amazing.
unreal. The other two girls, for some reason, liked the other two guys enough, or they liked them. I don't know. I'm left
Great.
with this guy. He speaks the least English. I speak the most French of all of us, and it
Okay.
is so little. We find out slowly over a weekend together, all of us hanging out in Nice, walking around. Why did they let us do this? Don't know. Not sure. That they are from Chechnya and that they're gang members. And
Poor
I was like, this is a
Sophia.
lot to happen. Again, like I've never been touched by a man in my life, and now we're just walking around France. I have no idea. Like, there's so much that occurs between this. I like get convinced to like jump in the ocean with my clothes on. Like, I
Love,
became again new person,
love.
new person. So this to me, when I was thinking about today, I was like, this trip felt more like a coming of age
Yes.
moment than any other thing that like happened to my body or that was celebrated or like any party that I had. Like those things
Yeah.
didn't feel at all like I came of age. The thing that changed was when I literally, like, in a dark hallway, the guy gave me a kiss on the cheek, but I
Oh,
told everyone we kissed because I was like,
okay.
"We have to speed the timeline
Yeah.
up. Like, let's go." You know, I was
Yes,
like,
yes, yes,
"Ugh."
yes.
But that moment was, like, the first time it occurred to me that I was, like that my life wasn't always going to be being a kid and being,
I
like,
love
a
that.
loser, you
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah, well, you got to like see a new side of
Oh my
yourself,
god, it
and
was
maybe it took. That's so weird. Like For me, I had a similar thing. I remember visiting the Valley. We lived in Orange County and we visited the Valley and we met this new group of guys outside of high school. Same thing, like I was a different person. And at this party, I jumped into the pool with my clothes on. And that's like the guy that I had my first kiss with saw me do that. And it
Of
was like,
course.
she's the like adventurous one.
That's exactly. I literally like got into an adrenaline mindset, which like I don't even like the ocean. I'm not gonna go in the ocean. But 16-year-old Sophia was like, "Ugh, this dude's gonna think it's cool. Gotta get in the ocean." And I knew, like, and it worked. I was like, it was like a indie film that I was like
Yeah.
casting in my
Yeah.
own head. I was having so much fun.
I know since we talked earlier, you haven't been to any bat or bar mitzvahs. I kind of had one. It was like there's like a really religious portion of it where you like learn the Torah and it's like an hour and a half of like speaking in Hebrew and crazy. And I was too lazy to do that. So I
Right.
just had the party and I had it when I was 15. So we called it like a quinceañera too. But like bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs go nuts. You saw the Adam Sandler movie. We were
I
just
love it
talking
so
about
much.
it. Like
Did you have a
there's,
theme to yours?
I had my theme was just a color. And we've been laughing because it was the color purple.
I was just gonna ask if it was purple. That was my
Yes.
first question. Was
Yes.
when you do a theme that's a color, there's so few colors that could be the theme.
Yeah.
It's either black or purple.
Yeah. Yesterday, a girl that came on was like, I would have done it pink. And I'm like, yeah, that, like, if I could go back. But, like, if you could, people do, like, hockey as their theme.
What would you do as your theme now? Now I'm interviewing you.
Yeah, no, please.
But I want to know.
If I did it now, it would be martinis.
That's such a chic theme. I was thinking
Right?
Princess Diana for mine.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Like
Would it be, because then you do, like, the tables. And so, like, would it be, like, this
maybe different
table?
outfits.
Yeah, different
like different like
outfits.
photos of her.
Yeah. Maybe because I'm trying to think like I always think table wise there's like, this table themed like if people do like European cities, so it'll be like that's the Paris table. Like
That's cute.
maybe I would do not just martini, but it would be like cocktails.
Cocktail would be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun.
So it'd be like the Negroni table,
Oh, that's great.
and yours would be like Princess Diana, like Dodi
I do-
Al-Fayed era.
I guess the end of that does get a little sad, so you just have to like ignore the.
Yeah, like
you just
the
have
paparazzi.
Yeah, you're like no photos tonight.
And this is the dead Princess
Yeah,
Diana
exactly.
casket era.
I guess I maybe should rethink it,
Yeah.
but
No, let's keep it. If you could go back and give yourself advice as a like 13-year-old freak right now, what would it be?
I think the hard part about giving yourself advice, any 12 or 13-year-old advice, is you don't believe it. Like my parents
Yeah.
gave me amazing advice.
Sure.
And you don't believe it, like
No.
at all. Like it didn't matter. Like, but I think if I could somehow make myself believe the advice I was giving, it would just be like, chill out, like
Yeah,
calm
chill
down, like
out.
please relax.
Yeah.
Because I just was so stressed. I mean, you're so stressed about everything, and like life is long. Like it's the longest thing you do. And I feel like when you're 13, there's so much messaging. Actually, when you're a kid forever, the whole childhood is so much messaging that like this part of your life builds to the next part, which builds to the
Yes.
next part. And then you're going to set yourself up for it. And I'm like, wow, that's not even true. Just be 13.
Yeah.
Like chill out.
Sophies, I love you so much.
I love
You're
you.
so wise. I've always felt that since the day I met you.
I'm usually lying.
Well, same. Thank you for coming on the show. And where can we find you?
You can find me still on Twitter. I will never leave. At one follower, no dad.
Our Twitter names are a fucking disaster.
Disaster. And you can find me also. I have a Substack called Here's the Thing. So once I start writing advice there again.
Yes, and your book
And
again.
my book.
Yes.
Well, this is exhausting.
Yes, please read it and gift it to everybody. It's truly a beautiful book.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me.
Thank you.